Back with another TDengine webinar, and today we're going to be building a boiler monitoring P&ID diagram dashboard within IDMP for an oil refinery scenario. So it's a really powerful way to build this end-to-end tool. You'll be seeing a live demo of that oil refinery and how to set up this P&ID. That is very useful for industry experts and obviously anyone that wants to visualize their data in a new paradigm. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. So before we start, let's go in a little background about TDengine. So TDengine is an AI-powered data historian, which combines high-performance time series database with its AI-native industrial data management platform, meaning it enables organizations to ingest, contextualize, and manage large volumes of time series data. Now, how does it work? Well, TDengine takes in data from old proprietary protocols and converts them to standard OPC and MQTT. Those are some of the common formats and protocols we support. And it consolidates that data, which then it later stores. And on top of that, it runs stream processing, machine learning models with TDGPT, and analysis on that data. Okay. One of the most common questions we get asked is, can I treat TDengine like an MQTT broker? And the answer is absolutely yes. You can also use TDengine and hook up the time series database to other visualization tools like Grafana or Power BI. And you can also hook up an MCP to TSDB. So you can go even further with the AI connection. It's a very open ecosystem, and multitudes of programming languages are supported as connectors. And you can even subscribe the data to a ton of different apps. Okay, so now you can see you can publish, subscribe, use an MCP, and also use it on different visualization and streaming tools. But how can I catalog and standardize that data? That's where IDMP comes in. IDMP catalogs, standardizes, and contextualizes that data, acting as the foundation for understanding it, right? And then now you've got a domain knowledge base. And using that domain knowledge base, agentic AI lives within the platform, allowing you to create things like panels, reports, analyses, events, and notifications. Okay, so let's get this webinar started. And if you guys want to read more, the documentation is available at docs.tdengine.com and idmpdocs.tdengine.com. Okay, so before this webinar, obviously you're going to want to click on the webinar sheet and deploy it on Docker. And you'll see exactly where the IDMP UI lives, right? And of course, you have to pick one of those sample scenarios, but I'm going to assume you've already done that. So let's go ahead and hop right in. Okay, so this is IDMP. And what you're going to want to do is go into Admin Console, go to Data In, and click TDengine. You'll see all your data in tasks. I have quite a few. You guys are not going to have any. Click Add Source, and now you'll see the data in. Okay, so here we're going to call it boiler task. Select a database. You can select whichever one you like. Let's pick the test one for me, and then pick the protocol. So MQTT. Give the host a name. So give it that MQTT host. You already have it on the workshop, but it's mqtt.tdengine.com. It's our own proprietary broker that is publishing data. And down here, you can give anything for the client ID. I just like to use my name plus the name of the actual task. So I'll put boiler task Arun. And then the topic config, right? So for the topic config, it's already provided, but we're going to use Steam Drum. Make sure you type that out correctly. And go ahead and hit check connection. Awesome. It's easily visible and ready to go. Now click retrieve from server. Wait a few seconds and you'll start to see that JSON payload populate. So we're just giving it a few seconds and it's going to append 5. You can obviously change that sample data limit. Once it's done that, you are free to parse that data, right? I want to see into it. You can preview the parse results here. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see that. Okay. So as you can see, this is the data we already have. And now I can create a super table out of it, right? And enter a unique name for the super table. It could be literally anything. So here I've set up test. Okay, so that's good to go. I can call this timestamp. Now we want to get rid of the duplicate timestamp, which is coming in, because we already have a timestamp field. And for the other fields, you're going to see click switch to tag. Now you want to do that for all the fields listed here. So asset ID, asset UID, path, boiler ID, and service, and pressure class. So these are called tags. Tags are those metrics that never change. In TDengine, we consider those tags static, and then our metrics are those timestamp data. Go ahead and click create. And then now you have to map that super table, right? And mapping is pretty easy. Here, for the subtable name, we're going to map it to the asset ID. $asset ID. Make sure you spell that right. Go ahead and look into it, and you'll see what that looks like. Awesome. It's good to go. Now I can just hit submit. I've already ingested the data source, so I'm going to show you what it looks like fully ingested. But once you hit submit, you should be good to go. So let me hit cancel, discard, and mine is right here. So my Steam drum. I can just go ahead and hop in there and view to show you what a fully configured Steam drum looks like. And it's already ready to go. Cool. So you're going to want to repeat that task one more time, right? And once it's actually running, let's see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and hit start task, and here you can see the start and stop tasks. So start, refresh, and it's already running. It's beautiful. It's working great. Cool. Now, how do I do this and get this data in? Well, let me show you that. So right in the admin console, make sure you're there. Go to connections, go to TDengine, and easy import. Now we're going to click rebuild. I'm going to go find where my database is, right? So you're going to need to go to your database to actually find where all your stuff is, right? So right over here, I'm going to pick one of these databases. And the idea is pretty simple, right? Essentially, all you need to do is pick your database and always pick the tag that says path, right? So for an example, this fillers one, it's not very similar to yours, but all you're going to do is map it to the path. Once you hit map it to the path, go ahead and hit finish. Once that's done, you have to make sure you uncheck ignore. Once finish is clicked, go ahead and let that finish. I've already done so. And then when you go back, you'll be able to see refinery right over there, along with the data source itself already pumping out data. So we've done Steam Drum. It should look a little like this, right? And it'll show you the timestamp for when the data last came in and all sorts of that good stuff. Cool. So that's how you get the data in, and that's what you should see on the tree. In this demo, you should have mapped both the Steam Drum as well as the feed water. So both of those. It should look just like this right here, with those tags, obviously, and those timestamps. Cool. Now there's a couple of things we can do, right? Going into an element, and you've got to go deep into one. I'm going to pick one of these. Let's pick unit 4. And you're going to give AI a couple seconds to generate the insights for you. But let's build a standard panel, right? Get a couple metrics that you guys can throw on there. You can see data coming in. I can put it for the last 15, last 5, depending on how much data I have. I could throw in a bar chart, a pie chart. Doesn't really make sense in this scenario, but you get my point. You can throw in as many different kind of graphs as you want, right? And you can add to metrics. So a ton of different chart types. Obviously, there's a gauge chart that you guys can try too.
Go ahead and try them with the metrics that you have. And once you're ready, let me actually just do this trend chart. Hit save, go back, and obviously give it a better name than I did. I can generate insights for every panel. So right here, it's showing me the core insight for this one. In the last 5 minutes, the feed rate of unit 4 in Baytown has shown significant short-term fluctuations with values oscillating. So usually it shows you core insights, key findings, analyses, business impact, and recommendations. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes for those who are actually on this step to see how much time you guys need, but I encourage you guys to play around with it and try to create as many interesting panels as you can. Obviously, I can throw 2 metrics in there. So this is my feed rate, my target feed rate. I'm able to fill the opacity if I wanted to between them. I can also hit save on that, and I can also get insights on that as well. Choices are really up to you guys. We can even enable multiple swim lane here, and of course I can get insights on this as well. So I encourage you guys to play around with the metrics you have and sort of generate what you need to, right? Okay, now if you're following along with the worksheet, the most important thing is the canvas panel. And once we get really good with the canvas panel, we will be able to generate a canvas just like this one, right? But it starts pretty small, and getting to this isn't you need to do these steps first to be able to build a canvas like this. And we're going to go back and get you guys started with the flow of that, right? And how that starts is you go back to panels, and it can really be for any element. You click add new panel, and you'll see canvas right here. Now canvas is more visual, so it will take a couple seconds to load in, but this is what you should see, right? Now what we're looking for in our scenario is boilers. Now there are a couple boilers right over here. What we want is to pick the symbols that are exactly on the worksheet. I'm going to pause right here. You guys can drop questions in the chat. Are dashboards part of demo for oil? Yes, Siddharth, they are. We will go over dashboards after we make this canvas panel, and I will show you guys that you can actually throw canvas onto a dashboard. And guys, stop me anytime to ask questions. Going back to this, so we've ingested the data and we've imported the data, right, into IDMP. And we've created that standard panel and added different metrics to it. Now, the part we're at is probably the most important, which is creating the canvas panel. And this is what you guys should all see. Opening up boilers, right? I encourage you guys to look at all the different symbols we have. We have a ton, right? And some are animated, some aren't, but we're adding more every single day. Can we add our own canvas? Harsh, what do you mean by that specifically? Do you mean, can you add your own AutoCAD designs straight in? Or your own kind of PNID diagrams? So there's a couple different ways to interpret that. So for AutoCAD, we are actually going to support that in the coming weeks, where you'll just be able to drag the file and it'll auto-generate it, right? And images and GIFs can also be added, correct. Those are already available. You can already drag and drop images in as you please. That's right, Harsh. But for this demo, it's pretty simple, right? We're going to drag 4 of these different symbols on. And I'm just going to do it in the exact order of the webinar. And yeah, go ahead and size them appropriately. So just dragging. And this is part of the process, guys, to get to the more complicated ones. Because once you understand how to, kind of throw these together, it's much easier for you guys to do this. I'm not a graphic designer by any means, but I can still do it. So any of you guys can too. Okay, now you'll see up here, there's a couple of different type of lines, right? So what we want to do is change the direction because we're going to go this way. And we also want to make the line straight. We want a line. I like to make the line width around 6, easier to see. And we're going to grab this pen here. Each of these symbols I can kind of drag the line towards, right, to connect them in a way. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to drag line by line straight across. Now you might notice it's a little uneven, and that's okay. You can just adjust it. And there you go. It's straightened out. Maybe even this one, I want to drag it up a little more. I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds to kind of do that. And let's experiment with some of the features that the canvas already offers outside of the box, right? And what I mean by features is the ability to animate lines and pretty much anything else that you want to. So here, I'm going to pick the beads flow effect, change the animation speed, click keep animation state, autoplay, and click play. There you go. I'm already ready to go with an animation for a line. Now, of course, you can copy and paste these lines, so you don't have to keep recreating them, but we're just going to do it for every single line so you guys can kind of see. But autoplay and keep animation state will ensure that the line will always be there. And of course, there's different types of them, right? You can have a dot going through, you can have an arrow kind of going in, you can have a water drop. That one's pretty cool. Flow is probably one of the most popular ones. Beads flow is also pretty common. Like, there's a ton of different animation types for these lines. So I encourage you guys to play around, and I can change everything, right? I can change the color. Like if I want it to be blue, if I wanted to add a shadow of that color, I could do that too. I could change the animation line width. So maybe if I want to make the lines a little wicker. I'm not able to see the enum text. It always displays the numeric values instead. If you could show that, I'd be appreciated. Okay, Nishjay, no worries. An enumeration set to one of my int bool tags and configured it on IDMP, but I'm not able to see the enums as it always displays the numeric value instead. Okay, no worries. We will go over that for sure. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And yeah, see, I've added a shadow. The animations you can get pretty extensive with them. We're going to keep it at beads flow, and I'm going to remove that color. As you can see, this one's got a shadow on it. That's the difference between your shadow. And there you go. And I think the actual default is flow. So let's keep it at flow for all of them. But I'm just playing around with the animation, showing you guys all the different ones that you can do. Okay, now let's click on one of the symbols. All right, we're going to go to symbol properties. Now, on those symbol properties, I'm going to click add property. And we're going to give it a display name, right? We're just mapping text to it. I'm going to call it drum level. Click symbol property, click text, and click confirm. Okay, so once you're here, mapping and enumeration, not always able to see the enum text, it always displays the numeric values instead. Okay, so once drum level is created, we're going to click tag. And here you should be able to see all of the different, after you click that bind icon, all of the different attributes, right? Depending on where you made it. Here I just made it in my refinery. And I'm just going to pick an attribute. So here in Blend 4, let's actually pick units. And let me pick unit 5. I'm going to pick feed rate. But you guys should pick a drum level. Hit confirm. And you should see it popping up right there, right? Now, that color of the text is pretty hard to see, but that's okay, because I can always go to text. I can increase the size, and I can also change the color. So I want it to be black. There you go. That's much easier to see. Now, conditional visualizations is all of what drives Canvas. You want these to be real-time interactive events, and you want to see things changing on the screen. I could very easily do that by clicking event. I can click add, and then when I click event type, I want to say symbol property value changes. That's what we're going to use for this one. And once I click that, I can click event action, right? What do I want this event to do? And I want it to set the symbol property. So in my example, I want to change the text color, right? And we already given you the value that you want to set the text color to. But the most important thing to remember here is what is the trigger condition? Like what is going to cause this? And we're going to click comparison operator, right? And then here you'll pick text, which is that text that we defined in the symbol property. It'll automatically pick that text up. And then for the condition, we're going to do compare. We're going to do less than. And for me, I'll do less than 15, but you guys do 200. It really just depends on your property. So if you're following along, go ahead and fill out those fields, and you'll just see that we're running a comparison operator on it. And we want to change it to that color. And now what if it's greater than, right? So we don't just want the event to be for less than, we want it to be for greater than too. And that's okay, we could do that as well. I'm going to click event 2, symbol property value changes, and do the same thing. Set symbol property, text color. The text color for that is already in the workshop. So once again, try that out. And we're just going to copy and paste it. I'll copy and paste it in for you. I want to set that value. Trigger condition, comparison operator. Click text. And the condition is, because for the last one we did less than, we're going to do greater than or equal to. And you guys are going to do 200. We're going to do 15. So for the last one we did less than. And then this one we're doing greater than or equal to, right? Okay. So once that's done, I'll close that and close that. We're going to go ahead and click on this button and click preview. And what that's going to do is allow you to see the data real time. So right now you'll see that it turns green on one of my conditions. And I think I actually might have messed that condition up. Hold up, let's check it out here. Can we apply condition formatting? If the value goes beyond the limit, like 45, then it turns red. If the same value goes below 20, then blue. And if so, same value. And of course, Harsh, you could do that. It's meant for you to do that, right? Condition less than 15. Okay, I might have inversed the colors that are on there. That's okay. Let's change that, right? So this color should actually be down here. And this color should be up here. These are just text colors. And then now when I go in, you can see that when it's under 15, it will drop to red. And when I refresh and it's over 15, it'll drop to green. These are some of the cool things you can string. And I encourage you to play around with that, right? Because there's a lot more things that you can try out with this, right? For example, let's take, and this one's not on the workshop. This is just showing you guys the power of Canvas itself. Of course, we need to click edit to re-edit anything. Let's go and pick one of these symbols. So for me, I'm looking for a button, right? I want a button. Let's see. And we have so many different symbols, so I encourage you guys to mess around and look at all of these. But what we're looking for is a button of sorts. Oh, great! You found that? Awesome. Awesome, Harsh. That's great. But as I said, you can look through. But here, we found the button. So we're going to drag both of these buttons onto there, right? And what we're actually going to do is drag one of the buttons on top of the other one. Actually, I want the red one on top. So there you go. And what you can actually do, let me make sure that I have this right. What you can actually do is combine them, right? So combine to state. And now, because the button's red, I can change that state, right? So I have the ability to change that state within my properties. So I can say, hey, this is a progress value. I like to use this one, and I can map it to anything. So for me, I'm going to just do number. I can give it like a min, and I can give it a max, and I can give it a step. And the display name is just test. You guys can give it whatever you want. But essentially, when I go into my event, let me actually map it to something. So let's map it to one of our metrics. Here, I'm going to go in, pick one. Let's do value. And I go to the event. And just like we did before, I can control anything from here. So set symbol property. And once again, I can set the state, right? So if I want to go to the values 1 and comparison operator. So symbol property, progress value, condition, greater than or equal to 94. And we can change the state. And actually, let me adjust the symbol property value for the max to be much higher. Like let's do 100 or 1,000. And going through it, let's see if we actually get there. So I'm actually not sure what that metric is, but let's see. Why don't, and one of the cool things you can do is I can actually just push the value, right? So if I want to see what it looks like, I can push the value, and you can see that it changes green. And so it's above 94 right now, and now it's changed to that green state. So there's a lot of really cool ways that you guys can map things together and play around with it. It's all precisely just logic, right? And I'm going to go ahead and stop right here. Actually, there's one more thing we want to do, and which is we want to put this together, right? So I've made my mapping, and I'm actually going to go to general. I'm going to call this demo. Click save. Now I encourage you guys to create a dashboard out of this, right? And what I want you to get away from it is that you can combine multiple PNIDs onto a dashboard along with the panels, right? So I can throw this PNID in there, but I can also throw a couple graphs on there as well. It's really up to me. So here's a couple of the graphs that I've already made. Just go ahead and drag a couple panels along with the dashboard. Let's just call it workshop. Give everyone a couple seconds to kind of go ahead and do that. But you have the ability to do both, right? Drag both the regular panels that we've made with the metrics, and then also drag the Canvas PNID panels on as well. You can see that you can even add an auto refresh interval, so you'll see the data coming in every 1 second. Now, when you go to the general section, and you're like, hey, like I want to see that event, you could also do that as well, right? So if I go back to my panels, and we can give it a second to load in here, to my demo, I view it, I can also just have an auto refresh interval on this. So every 1 second, new data is coming in. So you'll be able to test your events and such in real time. So that's another thing I encourage you guys to take a look at. Now, of course, there's a couple other features of IDMP that you guys are probably already familiar with. But obviously, go ahead and play around with those as well. For the panels, I suggest looking at the AI generation and checking out how to generate panels by clicking on the templates as well as prompting panels. So you can type up and create panels. Another doubt. Oh, awesome. Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and just leave it all open for questions now. Hurst said, hey, another doubt. How can a user identify the values updating in current time or not? Awesome. So a couple different ways, right? Typically, there's a refresh button right here. So you can see the value change in real time. That's probably the easiest way, and that's on the panel side, as well as when I go and edit this actual panel. So let's go in and edit it. It's in here too, right? Like when I click refresh here, it's refreshing the value. So I'm able to do that within the system. If I can continue refreshing, you can see that it's refreshing right there. Okay, another dot, how can the user identify? There you go. That's how you would identify that. But if you mean how can you see that outside, that's also a great question. You can simply set an auto refresh interval, so you don't have to keep clicking the refresh. So every 1 second, this is going to repeat over and over again, right? Now, in this scenario, this is a boiler scenario, but with what you guys have learned, you guys can pretty much create any kind of PNID based off the images that are there, right? And also upload your own as well. So I encourage you guys to go ahead and try that out. Now, all of those different things that we've tried, the conditional visualizations, I'm going to give everybody a couple cents. But I get that, but in real time, how can the user check the timestamp of that value? That's a great question. So a couple different ways, right? So you want to see the timestamp of the value. I would just go to the attributes. It's not changing the last five rows. So what value is showing on the screen? Correct. So you want to see the timestamp on the metric, right? Underneath the like over here. Is that right, Siddharth? Or Harsh, you want to see the timestamp underneath this? If that is indeed what you're looking for, we are going to add that in the next couple days, actually. So the timestamp, right? Yeah, or below the value. Yep. So that's coming in an update. Currently, you can check the timestamp in the attributes section, so you're able to see the last updated value. But right now, for Canvas itself, you just have to look and see if the value actually changes. Thanks, Alan, of course. No worries. And anyone, if you guys have interesting canvases and stuff you've created, would love to see what you guys have made. Okay, thank you for joining, Siddharth, of course. And so we're going to kind of conclude what we've built today. So you deployed TDengine via Docker if you followed the instructions. You ingested the boiler data into TSDB, imported those assets, and then created a real-time PNID as well as standard panels as well. And then at the end, we also threw up a dashboard to show you how you can incorporate both into a dashboard.